Hi there. I'm pleased you're interested in Unite, SINi's asset management plugin for 3ds Max. I hope you find this interesting. Unite was designed for artists working with third-party renderers and plugins to relink missing file types that are not native to 3ds Max. As you see on this list, it includes textures, proxies, xrefs, and cache files, as well as sims and lighting IES files. It includes archiving, which is useful if you like to package projects into self-contained folders, and handy to send to online render farms or working from home. Embracing the work-from-home workflow or moving projects to different locations, we've included file repathing. This means you can quickly repath an entire project to your local drive, and then when you're done, save it back to your company's server and repath the entire project to that drive, before continuing to work on it or archiving the project. With many folks now operating in a hybrid working environment, Unite is a massive time saver when dealing with complex 3D scenes. Okay, let's go through it, starting with the Relink tab. Before I begin, if you need help, click on the question mark on the header. Unique to Unite, you have the option to relink the current scene or another 3ds Max file. This is handy if you work with xref files and you don't wish to open them to relink their assets. I'll stick with the current scene. If there are missing files, they'll be listed below. You can drag Unite to the right to reveal the complete file path. By default, List All Missing File Paths is checked. What this means is Unite lists missing files even if it finds them not in the source location. We recommend you relink them correctly to improve 3ds Max scene loading time. Unchecking removes them from the list, but you'll discover that your scene will likely take ages to load when opening 3ds Max, as it will continue searching for them on your PC. A handy tip with opening scenes: if you do experience long opening times, open Ignite Springboard and in the settings, check the Empty Material Editor on File Open. If you use subfolders, adjust the number to search all folders for missing files. Try and select objects. If you highlight assets in the list and click the button, Unite will select the objects in the scene. So why do we say try? Only assets associated with selectable geometry can be selected. For example, an HDRI file used in the scene is not selectable as it's not associated with any geometry. Next in the row, delete selected paths, proxy objects. This deletes the selected asset paths from the scene. Last on the row, strip selected paths. Clicking this will strip the file path and leave just the file name. A Unite relink tip. If you select assets and right-click, you can apply the below tools using your mouse. Moving to the next row, select the Relink Directory path. Click on the plus button on the right and choose the location for Unite to search for files. You can add multiple location paths if required. The paths will be listed below. If you wish to remove a path, select from the list and click the minus button on the row above. When ready, click Relink Files on the bottom right. Unite Relink will then process the scene, as you'll see in the progress bar below. When finished, nothing will remain listed in Unite, meaning all files are relinked correctly. Now let's look at archiving. It's worth pointing out that this tool won't function if any files are missing. Always run relink first and ensure everything is linked or cleared from the scene before proceeding. I'd also suggest running forensic before archiving. Once relink is complete, you can see archive is activated. Across the top row, you can deselect files you don't wish to include. All of them are on by default. Select the location path you wish to save the project to. Ensure there is adequate space on the drive, as everything will be moved or copied to this location, and then all file paths will be updated. Now give the project a project name. This will create the folder. Then click Archive Project. Please note, I've sped up this process as it does take some time, especially if you included proxies. I'm sure you don't want to watch in real time. Like watching paint dry, right? When complete, check the folder. You can see everything has been copied and placed in organized folders. Textures, proxies, xrefs, etc. You now have a self-contained folder with all associated files linked correctly. Archive it, take it home, or send it to a render farm. That makes it easy to archive your scene. But what if Unite takes a long time to process and relink thousands of proxy instances? In this next demo, I'll show you an Unite alternative workflow to relink proxies, which could save you a considerable amount of time compared to the previous method. I'll start by repeating the same workflow as before, but this time I'll uncheck the proxies on the top row. Click Archive Project to process. Once complete, open Explorer and navigate to the project folder. The texture and xref folders have been saved. I'll now copy all my proxies into the project folder. You can see they're all saved. Now, I need to relink the scene to these files. Open the saved 3ds Max project scene. Then select the proxies. I like to work in layers, so I'll select my trees first. Then open Ignite Springboard and click on the Workflow tab. Below, under Repath Proxies, navigate to the New Proxy folder. Then click Repath Proxies. It will take a few seconds to repath. Then I'll repeat the process with the shrub proxies. Select them and click Repath Proxies. And then I'll link the parked cars. And people, repeating the process. Once finished, close Springboard and save the file. All the proxies will be linked. The file is now ready to work on, archive, or send to a render farm. Please keep this workflow in mind if your scene is proxy intensive. Unite allows you to link many different file types and inclusion options on which files you wish to archive or not. Some folks may wish to save disk space by not copying loads of referenced files to the project folder and prefer to relink them to their original location. That's something to consider with archiving complex scenes. Okay, I'll discuss the last tab, Repath. Those of you familiar with the 3D geek term repathing will know what it means. If not, it's definitely not the Urban Dictionary term, meaning for males to wet their pants in the presence of females. Oh, boys. Please control yourselves or repathing around me. Oops, sorry. Right, getting back to it. What this allows you to do is redirect all assets to new folders. So, for example, if your scene uses 4K texture maps, you might like to work with low-res bitmap proxies. By repathing to the low-res folder, the scene is more memory efficient. Make sure you keep the same file names in each folder. In my demo, I'll use repath to swap the textures in the scene from day to a night scene by simply pointing to the new folder. Before opening Unite, I'll render the scene to show you the lighting setup. It's set to a daytime street scene. I'll close that and open Unite from the toolbar. In the Repath tab, I'll scroll down and select the bitmaps that I wish to repath. In this scenario, I'll repath the windows, swapping them for night lighting. Once selected, click on Repath Directory to point to the new folder where the night bitmaps are located. Then, click the Repath Selected Files button. There are a few additional things to do as it's a night scene. The first, turn on any additional lights. Street lights in my case. And as I'm using Illumi to light the scene, I'll open Illumi Compass and change the HDRI to the night image. I'll check it out by doing a test render. You can see the lighting is all set up. It's worth mentioning the checkboxes allow the option to copy the selected files, overwrite existing files, and create type subfolders. I can easily change back if I want to revert to the day scene again. That's it for Unite. In my next video, I'll cover SINi Script, our Mac script building plugin. If you're not familiar with scripting, you may wish to skip this and jump to pre-flight. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.